Hey guys, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be showing you the much requested how to make solid grooves raw style tech house. I talked to you about the more straightforward solid groove style. Today we're going to be specifically talking about their sister label, Solid Grooves Raw, and some of the stuff that I've noticed listening to those tracks as well, because I've gotten a lot of requests to do this one. As usual, you can get this full project files, samples, MIDI, presets, everything like that from this video right at the top of the description. It's a really great way to support me if you guys are enjoying these videos. And yeah, let's get started. So, the first thing we have up here is the vocal, which sounds like this. So what it is, it's just this little vocal riff that I have here. And then you can see what I've done is I placed it actually on the 2. So we have it hitting like... And I've even done that over here. All this is, it's just the... Then I copied and pasted it over to there. But then by having it on the 2, it makes it more groovy, because instead of just having it right on the beat, now you get it kind of like... It's a little bit more impactful because it hits at the same time with the clef. And in terms of the vocal sample, you know what you want to look for? It's more like, I guess, just kind of raw stuff, like... You know, they use a lot of like hip-hop and R&B vocals on this label and in this style. And really just anything that has a nice energy and is really catchy and memorable like this. And a little technique here, you'll notice that I have the s on the word sky here. Actually hitting a little bit before the beat. That's a good technique. The thing is, all you have to do this is you just hit Alt, and then you can just move this wherever you want, and it allows you to get that control. However, yeah, it's really important because like when a person sings, they don't just sing like right perfectly on the beat, especially if you're saying like if it's sky like that. What it is that it's happening a little bit before the beat, and then the is really the thing that's gonna hit right on the beat. So that's what we're doing here. And then for effects with this one, really simple, just some 8th note echo just to give it a bit more like vibe. And kind of like, you know, some stuff ringing out. We have a bit of drum bus, just beefing this up too. You know, this really helps to make it feel a bit more raw and sort of textured. And then finally, we just have a high pass filter on there. And yeah, that's it for the vocal. The thing about these kind of vocals is it's like, you know, if you have a cool vocal and a cool sound in general, you're not really going to need to do so much processing to it. Like, the real effects are happening here just inside of the original sample, and then we're just adding a bit of extra stuff to kind of bring it into the track. Then we have this little piano stab. So what this is, it's actually playing, if you look at the bass line, you can see it's playing really similar to the bass. It's actually kind of the same thing. But then what's happening here is, yeah, you can hear this is just like your standard sort of house piano stab, you know, just kind of like plays a quick little thing here. And it just fits into that same space where the vocal would be, because we have sort of like our main groove, like all this stuff. But then the vocal and piano stab are the things that are going to sit on top of that. You know, to just kind of mix it up every now and then and throw something extra in there. And so for the notes, you can see, yeah, it's just A and C. That's the same thing that the bass line plays there. And then for the sound with this one, so it's just this little piano stab here, you know, pretty common sort of rave stab. And then that's just going through a really fast echo. I like the really fast echoes with these because you get that like super vibey like kind of thing happening. Then we just have some drum bus, which is fattening this up, and it brings out the echo a bit more. And then finally, we just have a high pass filter. And then that's it for the piano stab. Then we have our kick, which you can hear, you know, pretty straightforward, sort of fat 909 style kick. You can see there's a lot of these little like, and even here I did like, so yeah, just getting creative with the little kick fills, like just having them go like doom doom or doo doom at a few different places can really like bring the groove to life, because you get something where you're expecting the kick to always go doom, 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 doom. But if you throw in a little doom, you know, it kind of throws them off because it's not so expected. I think it adds a lot of groove. And then we just have a bit of saturation on that kick. You can see it's really not too much. It's already a pretty fat sound. Plus we have group processing. Then we have the bass line, which is actually 2 layers. So you can see what's happening here is it's a bass kick, which is actually just the same kick that you saw a second ago. We can see I've low passed that kick, and then yeah, that's just kind of like playing the first part of the bass line, but then we have another like actual MIDI like operator bass line here. And yeah, this is something I hear in a lot of these tracks, having like these 2 different bass lines playing off of each other, where one is a lot more percussive, of course, because it's a kick, and one, you can hear the notes, you can feel it, you can tell that it's actually like, you know, a synth bass line. It creates a really nice groove. Like if we play these with the kick. So yeah, I recommend trying that. Like don't just have one bass line, have 2 things. And then the secret is just to make sure they're not playing at the same time. Like you can see this one plays there and then it goes doo-doo, like kind of plays into the bass line. But they're never fighting for the same space. They're always playing at 2 separate times. And that's really the key here. And then for the main bass line with the synth, so for the notes, it's really simple. It's just 2 notes. It's just A and C. You know, the least amount of notes possible, I think, is going to be the best. You want it to be really simple and memorable. And then we just have a sine wave bass inside of operator here. You can see, yeah, it's just 2 sine waves doing a bit of FM. The second one's detuned a little bit to give it some movement. And then we just have those going into a low pass filter. And then a bit of drum bus. And that's really it. It's a simple sound. But if you have a really nice, you know, simple bass line, that's all you need to just make it really work well. And yeah, and then on the group of all the low end, we just have a bit of saturation. I like to put the low end stuff in a group together. It tends to make it all like really tie together a lot more. And it really feels like everything is kind of one cohesive low end rather than just having like the kick and the bass and then the other bass and wondering why they don't fit together. So here's without this. And then with it. You know, really subtle, but it just adds that extra tiny bit of a push, like that last 10%, to really make the low end work together. And yeah, then we have our hi-hats. So, as you can see, there's 2 different hi-hats here, which I'm going to go through and break down. Something you'll notice with this, though, is the sort of like stop and start dynamic, because we have sort of our main hi-hat, which is this one, and that shaker layered together, so you're getting this really fat, punchy, like, type of sound. And then we have this closed hi-hat just going. And so, by cutting out this space with the closed hi-hat, because a lot of times in tracks, you know, people would just do like a, like that, where it's just constantly. But this way, it feels a little bit more kind of like controlled. Like it feels like there's still a place it can go before it really goes all out. And it also just keeps a really tight sort of minimal groove here. You can really hear the space between the notes if you give the closed hi-hat the pause there. And then the only other thing inside of this group are just these 2 little ones down here, like this tambourine. And then that little closed hi-hat. And so those just, you know. And you can see those kind of play off of the other hi-hats. Like we get like that. And yeah, and then on the group of hi-hats, we just have a little bit of processing. So kind of like the kick, you know, if you have good sounds already, you don't really need that much in the group processing. But the little tiny bit that we do have here is just going to push it so much further. So here's without anything. And with it. So you can hear the saturator really helps to give these some fatness and really like pushes them. And also kind of puts them in the same place. And then the EQ just brings out that sharp high end to really make this stand out. And yeah, then we have our percussion. So you can hear the percussion is kind of already playing its own groove on its own. But what's happening here is we have just sort of like our main clap. You know, just a nice mid-rangey clap. The thing that makes this one unique is that it's not like a 909 clap. It's more of like a kind of textured, like almost like a rim shot. But like a very, very fat rim shot. And then the other percussion are just these three things. You can see we have like, and then the little ones in between. You know, really simple, nothing too crazy. This is quote unquote like minimal tech house. But you can hear the little bit of stuff that we do have in there. It makes a big difference and adds a lot to the groove. If we get rid of this stuff, you know, it doesn't have quite as much rhythm and groove to it. And then on the groove without percussion, we just have a bit of drum bass. So I just had this on the soft setting. But just a little bit to tie it all together. And it really makes all the percussion kind of punch evenly in the mix. And yeah, so that is it for the percussion. And that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, everything like that from this video is available right at the top of the description. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because it's already available. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow with another video.